Also, I think kicking a rugby ball might be more buoyant and heavier than a football, so it can get kicked farther.
Why would no? Okay, so you're right and you're wrong, but it's breaking my brain figuring out which point to refute first because you said buoyant and heavier.
No, but heavy stuff that's
I'm
heavier.
gonna break it down.
I will say, if the College Football Playoff Committee's proven anything, good losses are better than wins. So.
And we'll start with that.
Yeah.
Back to nanodosing.
I guess I don't think we can.
We'll just start with Big T saying good losses are better than wins.
Okay.
It's true. It's true.
Apparently.
Bama had the best loss of the season.
Yes.
Fact or fiction? No, Georgia.
Georgia.
Georgia had the best loss of the season. But
Bama lost by 2 scores at home.
But Georgia's loss to Alabama was helped out in part because it was a good loss because Bama got beat by Texas, who was so good that they beat Bama.
Texas has Bama has a hockey assist best loss of the season.
I just love Bama gets credit because Texas gets credit for beating Bama. So then, therefore, because we're saying that Texas' win over Alabama is so good, it's only because Alabama is so good to make that win so good, meaning that Alabama is even better that they lost to Texas.
I don't know if we want to get into the whole thing.
Those are facts, though.
Go on.
Like, because, I had a little to drink and I was watching the college football games this weekend. I started tweeting and, there's a lot of emotions involved in college football, right? A lot of Sperry Rares was in my mention this past weekend. But it's just the facts. Like, when you look at the football teams, Alabama is clearly the best team in the nation. Clearly. They're going to win the national championship. It's why, to back this up, it's why if you look at Michigan's the fans, when they figured out who they were playing in the seating, there was no clapping. They were like, "Oh fuck," because they
that was
know
the team.
Oh, that was the team.
Yeah,
even worse.
Yeah.
Even worse. But that's what I'm saying. Like, clearly, if you watch football with an objective eye, Alabama is the best team in the nation, right? And so when you're like, I don't
know, Aaron, because
you're betting when it comes to your betting man. We can bet. Let me finish my thing.
Okay.
When I get Florida State fans being upset, like I understand, like you feel robbed, like man, we was supposed to, but that shit don't matter when you deal with like a capitalist. It is what it is. It's like more draw from an SEC Alabama team than you will from an FSU team that doesn't have its starting quarterback that got you there in the first place. It's just more of a draw. So it's like you're not dealing with like the facts of it. When you dealing with money, it's like who's going to garner more viewership. And if Florida State fans need to understand this, if you go out there and you whoop a Louisville team by 40, you make your case way better than to barely skirt by. It just is what it is.
I agree with all that, but I'm going to push back on you saying that Alabama is clearly the best team in the country because we saw them beat Georgia, right? That was impressive. Georgia's an awesome team. They're a little bit banged up, but everybody's banged up. Don't make an injury excuse right now.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, Alabama barely beat Auburn. They should have lost to Auburn.
Sure, absolutely. But
Auburn's not good. Auburn lost to New Mexico State, right?
Absolutely.
3 touchdowns.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, but if you're going to allow that context in the conversation, you have to allow this context in the conversation. That was one, clearly a trap game, right? We all agree that those happen in sports, right? But 2, it wasn't just any old trap game. It was one of the biggest sports rivalries in college football, the Iron Bowl. Yeah. So, like, different stakes, different emotions, all that taken into context, people get up. And this is what people don't understand about playing like Alabama, right? When you play Alabama, you get everybody's best, even when you're not at your best. Because every no matter who, from Tennessee to LSU to Texas to New Mexico, so whoever the fuck they playing, they are all circling Alabama's date on their calendars. Alabama's not circling anybody's date. They just like, we got to take our business. That matters. So like I understand just being like playing, like you can have them law games where you're like, we just looking forward to the SEC championship. Like it happens. But to say that Alabama is not the objectively best team in the nation, I just feel like we just disagree on ball. Like it is what it is.
You know what? I this is going to be a very unpopular opinion. I think Georgia should be in it over Washington.
Nah.
That is unpopular.
So
You're right.
So
no,
here's,
I just think that would make the best games because seeing that first college football playoff, seeing Washington get dog walked by Alabama, and I know that's a very different.
that was like
very
10 years
different-
ago.
Yeah, but like you're gonna see something like that happen.
I don't think so. I think this is a
Washington's
very
playing
SEC.
Texas.
I think this is a good Washington team. I don't think they could beat Alabama. I think Alabama going to walk Michigan, honestly.
Yeah, I think that Georgia is way better than Michigan or Washington. I think they'd play a better game. Like if we're looking for best games, best ratings, I think Georgia should have been in.
I don't disagree with that. And see, this is what I hate about the rating system in the first place. It's like if I'm the number 1 team in the nation and I lose to the number 2 team in the nation, like why do I drop back past number 2? You know what I'm saying? It just that never made any sense to me. And so like if you're the number 1 team in the nation and you're facing, what was Alabama at the time? Like 4 or 5, maybe 8. So that the number 8, you just shouldn't slide that far because by your rating system, they're supposed to have a good game. So like there's no nuance or there's no, like you don't take any of us having a good game into consideration. Like the ranking system's all fucked up.
My couple things on this. I do want to talk about the whole situation as a whole, but first, Arian, and this warms my heart. Arian's becoming a ball watcher, college in particular.
Whoa, brother. I need you to rephrase that a little bit.
WATCHER.
Yeah, no, dude, that's got a different context in locker rooms.
You just call me a ball watcher, bro. Like
Yeah.
so dudes in the locker room
ball
dudes
with
in
the fellas.
No, if you're in the locker room and you're a ball watcher,
dudes
that's
in the locker
like,
room like who
Okay.
get undressed in front of-
Arian's
that's
been
just
watching football.
I'm just saying that's a known term amongst football
Okay,
players.
I've never
When
heard
you,
that used in that context, but
meat watch.
Yeah,
Arian-
meat watcher and ball watcher. Yeah.
Arian
That's what
FaceTimed
you
me.
Meat watching, dog.
Arian, okay, y'all are out of pocket.
No, I'm just
but-
saying when you said that, I was like, hold on, fam.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
that's a
No,
thing. I'm just saying.
no. Arian's been watching football.
There we go.
He
I like that.
FaceTimed me in the middle of the ACC championship game and was just wanting to like rank college football rivalries. We had a nice little discussion for 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that. Just on the whole thing though, I agree with Billy. If they kept saying the 4 best teams, Alabama is better than Florida State as presently constituted. Well, so is Georgia. Georgia'd beat the piss out of. I think if you had Georgia play Alabama again, they might beat them, but they'd certainly beat. I think they'd beat Texas by 10, 14 points. I think they'd beat Washington by double digits. If you're going for the 4 best teams, it should be Michigan, Washington, Alabama, and Georgia. So they didn't do that. They didn't do the most deserving because obviously Florida State is more deserving than Alabama. Also, let's say Georgia wins on Saturday. Georgia wins 27-24. They finish 13-0, but Carson Beck gets hurt.
Right.
Is Georgia left out?
No.
No chance.
No chance.
Not a chance in hell.
No chance.
So this is exclusively it's a tough day to argue against the people who say there's like an SEC bias.
Oh yeah. At the
Because-
SEC, this is the fruit of all their labors in the last 20 years, building like a media empire, putting like former players everywhere on television, talking about how
let's
SEC
go to
speaks
Greg
different.
McElroy and Reese Davis to discuss if Alabama getting in was the right call.
Yeah.
I mean it's I was
But I see. I heard that argument too. Right? There's an SEC bias. Of course, there's an SEC bias, and there should be an SEC bias. If you look at the past, first round draft picks, Pro Bowlers, all that shit, SEC sends more people to the next level at a higher rate than any other
100%.
conference. So the point I'm making is better ball is being played there on average, right?
Yep.
And so if you look, I went to high school in California, right? I was a great athlete in high school, right? No, it didn't make the local news blip at all that I signed with the University of Tennessee. Maybe somewhere in the back, sports bet. Like nobody really gives a fuck about high school football like that in California. Like you'll find your pockets, but the majority don't. In Southeast, football is very different, dog. You know what I'm saying? So the viewership is larger. So all that needs to be taken into accountability when you're dealing with draws and sponsorships of this magnitude. It's a part of the pie that it is what it is. Like.
I think my biggest problem is in years past, last year, you can say because they won a game, whatever. Everyone with half a brain knew if TCU played a team like Georgia, they were going to get their shit kicked in, which they did. But we let them in, and they weren't even undefeated, by the way. They lost their conference championship game because they had earned it by going 12-0 in the regular season. Florida State did everything they could do. People act like, okay, we talk about Bama's game, how barely beating Auburn. And then people turn around and say, well, Florida State barely beat Florida. They went on the road in an in-state rivalry game. I believe Florida finished 5-7, so that game was to get them to bowl eligibility at home against a team they hate. Found a way to win that game by 13, like double digits.
Florida's bad, though.
So is Auburn, but it's an in-state rivalry game on the road. It's the exact same as Alabama. And then they played a top 15 Louisville team with a pretty good offense on a neutral field and shut them down.
Yeah.
And so everybody wants to talk about, well, their offense was bad. Okay, their defense was great. You can turn around and say the exact opposite about the other side of the ball.
Right. Also, FSU, they went to neutral site week 1, beat LSU. They scheduled
killed them.
They scheduled 2 SEC games.
Yes.
Outside of conference, won both of them. I don't think you can make the case that Florida State doesn't have a stacked roster. Their roster is incredible. Here's where we run into trouble, Arian, is that the committee basically said, we're going to do this because we don't believe in your new quarterback. They're isolating it to like one position and saying we're going to negate everything. Yes, they are.
That's literally the only reason.
If Jordan Travis was playing for Florida State, they would definitely be in.
But they don't do this if they're star tight end. You know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe you're right. All right, so maybe you're right. But what I guess my argument is, if it was, that is a major position in the way that these rules are set up nowadays in football, that you need your quarterback health. You need a really good quarterback. If you have a team, all those wins you guys are talking about, they had their quarterback.
No, not Louisville.
They don't have them no more.
I don't think Florida State was deserving. I mean, they almost lost to BC.
Every team almost lost. Bama beat USF by like 10. Texas. Every team they could have lost to Auburn. They were down to Tennessee
they were
by 2 touchdowns.
Upwards. Bama's been trending upwards all season. That's another thing. Like, the thing is, we want this to all be about meritocracy, but we've seen so many bad games in the college football playoff. The biggest complaint has been there has been bad games. This, I think, has a better chance of having better games than seeing, FSU get washed with a bad quarterback. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see FSU get their ass kicked by a much better team with a much better quarterback.
Nobody wanted to see TCU get their ass kicked either.
But TCU kicked ass because they could actually compete.
They didn't compete.
They got lucky that Michigan's defense played worse than their horrific defense, and then they got their shit kicked.
But those 2 games that I watched in an airport on New Year's Eve were fucking amazing. And the championship game, you can't control the outcome of. You can only control the two consolidation games to get into the championship. And those were 2 amazing fucking games. That's what we should aim for.
I guess I'm confused. Are y'all making the case that Florida State should be in? Or are you making the case that it should? Not you, Billy. I'm talking about Big C and PNC.
I think that yes, they should have gotten in. However, if they're not going to be, if your argument is that we're taking the 4 best teams, then Georgia should be in it over Texas. And that's not the way they've ever done it before. It has always been they've taken teams that probably weren't one of the 4 best but earned their way there, like TCU.
Well, okay, by that logic, that doesn't make any sense, though, because how can you put – you saying don't put Texas in over.
I'm saying if you really Georgia? Wanted the 4 best teams, Georgia's absolutely one of the 4 best teams.
Saying, what's
so
your
they
logic,
didn't do
though?
that. So they picked and chose where they wanted to say this team's better, and we believe this is a better football team, which Alabama is. Nobody disputes that. Alabama is better than Florida State right now, and probably better than Florida State with Jordan Travis. But Florida State went 13-0. Alabama didn't. They've never done it this way, ever. And if you're really saying you're picking the 4 best teams, Georgia's one of the 4 best teams.
So my position is that Florida State got fucked. Florida State should be in there.
Sure.
But I agree that Alabama's a better overall team than Florida State.
Yeah, I don't think anyone disputes that.
Yeah, so I'm just saying
Florida State fans do it, my goddamn mentions, I promise you.
I'm just saying it's not fair. They got fucked. They did everything they had to do.
If they go and get their ass kicked by Michigan, they earned that right.
So what year was it? Hold on. There was a year. It was 2004. 2004. It was
Auburn
Texas
went undefeated and got left out.
Yes. Exactly.
It was Texas, USC, and Auburn was Auburn.
And Auburn to me was the better team, and that wasn't because I was in SC. I just thought they was a better team. But I mean, that ended up being one of the best college football games of all time. But it's just one of those things, like, you have to make that decision. And Texas was a bigger draw, and so was USC. And so you can't make that. They had Cadillac Williams and
Jason Campbell.
Brown, Jason Campbell, like, you know what I'm saying? But they still didn't have the draw nationally that the other teams did. And so that is a factor. I don't think that's a factor y'all are factoring in.
Oh, it definitely is, because we had Kirk Herbstreit on Part of My Take last week to talk about the doomsday scenarios, and doomsday happened. Okay, we're living in the aftermath of doomsday, where they had to make these tough decisions. And I told Kirk, I was like, you have to be a realist when it comes to college football. And has college football ever done the correct thing? Like, have they ever done anything because it's morally correct? No, they're going to do what ends up making them the most money. And whether that be for ratings that they're looking at, he phrased it a different way. He talked about making the best game possible. That's another way of saying ratings, right? Yeah, to me, that's the exact same.
He's not going to admit it, though.
He was saying they don't factor in ratings whatsoever. They don't do any of that, but they do talk about what the best game's going to be. And he's not on the committee, so he's an outsider like us. But he was saying that, yeah, they're going to factor in what is going to be the best matchup. And to me, that means they're talking about, say, it's one and the same. What's going to be the best matchup equals what do they think is going to be the best ratings. And they definitely went in this position with going over what they hypothetically think might be a good matchup over the most deserving. When you get into hypotheticals, that's when it's fucked up, because you're not talking about the sport of football anymore. Now you're talking about the people who talk about the sport of football making the decisions, which is completely different. I think it's fucked up. And also, I think that if we didn't have the playoff coming next year, the expanded playoff up to 12 teams, I think next year, if it was going to be a 14 playoff again, I don't think they would have left FSU out. But now they don't have to deal with the repercussions and the precedent that they set of leaving a Power 5 winless team out. They don't have to worry about that anymore, because worst case scenario, we fast forward to next year, Florida State, they get a home game, they're ranked number 5, and it'll shake itself out that way. They don't have to worry about leaving a team out
That's
anymore.
Another thing I have a problem with. If you really think that Jordan Travis makes that much of a difference to Florida State, they shouldn't be 5th. I would have had more respect if the committee put them like 9th.
Yeah.
And was like, y'all are just a dog shit team without this guy. But they don't have the balls to do that. They said, oh, you were so close.
But
you would have just done a little more than
go 13-0. Did they put out any statement? Did they put out any statement, or they just said it is what it is?
The head of the committee was on like the selection show and basically just said, like, we think Alabama's better.
Boo Corrigan. No, you know who did put out a statement?
Mike Norvell, their president, and the AD, all of which were
Donald
awesome.
Trump as well.
Yeah. President Donald J. Trump.
Oh, did he?
Put out a statement. I'm gonna quote President Donald Trump, 45th president of these United States of America.
47th too.
Massive football fan. Florida State was treated very badly by the, quote, committee. He loves those scare quotes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They become the first Power 5 team to be left out of the college football playoffs. Really bad lobbying effort. Let's blame DeSanctimonious. So he's blaming Ron DeSantis.
Didn't do enough.
Where was he?
I don't think he
Where
did
was
anything.
he when this was happening?
Where he didn't do anything.
I saw there was some legislator in Florida that said they were going to look into their options, but it wasn't him.
Who's the governor of Florida?
It's Ron.
And is Florida, are they a state institution? Is Florida State University, or are they a state?
I believe that's run by the government.
Not private.
Huh, interesting. And DeSanctimonious couldn't get on his high horse. He couldn't put in his little lifts in his shoes, stand up real quick, and put one of his giant oversized boots up the ass of the NCAA and the CFP. Huh?
Well, some people could say that's because he's kind of a lib cuck, fled his state institutions, went to Yale instead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know.
Ron DeSantis.
Interesting.
You dropped the ball on this one. Meatball Ron. Drop the ball.
I do want to hear, Billy, you said it's not just about Jordan Travis.
Well, no, because isn't the second string quarterback also hurt?
He had a concussion, but he would have been back for the playoff games.
The best way for Florida State to do this would have been to just pretend that Jordan Travis's injury wasn't bad, and they would be like, "Oh, he might come back. He might come back by
pictures
by New
of
Year's."
him in a hospital bed.
Yeah, but he should have limited all the press access. Should not have put anything on social media. Should have been like, "Yeah, it's a high ankle sprain. I'm going to be back."
Who was the guy that tweeted when it happened? Like, hopefully it isn't that bad.
Oh,
and you could see his foot facing like behind his knee.
That was Tony Romo and Dak Prescott.
No.
Yeah. This was like 3 years ago when he broke his leg. Tony Romo
No,
was like,
this was the Jordan Travis injury.
Well, yeah, that's what happened with Tony. He was like, hopefully it's just a sprain, and his leg was facing backwards.
Okay, well, yeah, Jordan Travis's foot was facing the wrong way, and somebody tweeted like, hopefully it's not as bad as it looks.
Well, okay, going off not as bad as it looks. I don't know if you caught the Saints game yesterday.
I saw Alvin kill a guy. Yeah.
Alvin Kamara ran over one of the members of the chain gang. Not really ran over. He ran into him on the sideline. The guy on the chain jumped up in the air to avoid the collision. Got taken out, and he stood up, and his leg was pointing like 90 degrees to the side.
And Alvin didn't give a shit at all.
No, so that's what I was saying. He tried to check in on him for a second. Then he's like, got to get back out on the field. Play clock's expiring.
Yeah.
Like, they should stop the play clock, and they should allow Alvin Kamara to
probably should have stopped the game for that.
Like, get the guy's Venmo and be like, hey, I'll take care of you, whatever he wants to do. But that looked really bad. I read today he had a dislocated knee, which sounds extremely painful.
Man.
But he doesn't need surgery.
Oh.
They popped his leg.
That back
It was clean there. Okay.
It was a clean dislocation,
No
so he's going to be
tears?
okay.
Oh, dude, I would pray for that.
Yeah, so sometimes it's not. It wasn't
I
as
guess
bad
not
as
as
that.
bad as it looks.
No,
Does
that
that
had
one
to be
look?
so painful.
Yeah.
If there's any silver lining, though, for Florida State fans, this is better than losing a game in the playoff.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yes.
You can always say that you would have won the national title. If they beat Georgia,
They should claim it.
oh, for sure. I would support that. Like UCF's was bullshit. If Florida State goes 14-0, beats Georgia, I will support their national championship
Yeah.
claims.
They have the opportunity to do the right thing if Mike Pence has what it takes.
Just has the courage.
If he has the courage. If Mike Pence has the courage, Florida State will be national champions.
Yeah.
Really quick. The one argument I loved on this Jordan Travis thing is that if the committee really thought Jordan Travis was that valuable, they should make him the Heisman.
Stop, Billy. Please don't do that to me.
No, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
That's
if
the same
they
committee
think
that-
he
that's
was
my
really-
problem.
Is that
Is
the
the
same
committee basically said this one guy, the fact that he's not starting for you means that you're not good enough to get into the national championship picture, which is a very, very dangerous. Like, I can sit here and say, I think Alabama's better than Florida State. That's my opinion. We all have opinions. That's what makes college football awesome is everyone has opinions. Most of them are wrong, but you get to have those opinions and you get to be confident in them.
Some more right than others, though, regarding other quarterbacks. But go on.
But if you are just saying, in my opinion, Florida State is not good enough without this quarterback, despite the fact that they've lost all their games, then you're just taking everything that happens on the field and saying it doesn't matter. My opinion about what's going to happen takes precedent over what's already happened.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a dramatic way of putting it. This is a very specific situation in which he obviously carried them. Obviously.
I think their defense is
Their
so
defense
good.
is nasty.
Their
If y'all-
defense is
but y'all-
like
but y'all-
Haven't given up 30 points all year.
it's y'all admitting, yeah, they're not as good as Alabama, but like
They're not.
there's no
Washington. Texas isn't as good as Georgia, but Texas is in because they won their conference championship, beat Alabama. They have the resume that deserves it. That's what I'm saying. If you honestly want to pick the four best teams, then have the balls to pick the four best teams.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't disagree with that. I guess it's just a very obvious. Like I knew Florida State wasn't gonna get in. Like I knew, like there was no doubt in my mind Florida State wasn't gonna get it. But it's just surprising to me that. So I guess I don't know. These are all rules anyways. If they really want to shake shit up, just be like, you know what, fuck it, expanded playoff this year. We're starting this year because of this.
Well, ironically, it's the ACC's fault that the expanded playoff did not start this year.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
So,
They may be punishing them.
back a few years ago, they wanted to make – so this is when all the realignment started to happen, when Texas and Oklahoma went to the SEC. And the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 formed this alliance, they called it, that never actually did anything and disbanded shortly thereafter. But they blocked the expanded playoff for – I don't even remember what reason, really.
It was a handshake deal that they had, which was never written down. It was just like, okay, we're going to try to counter the big conferences teaming up together. I don't know exactly how, but yeah, you're right. The playoff was supposed to start this year. The 12 team was supposed to start this year. The Alliance blocked it, and that's why Florida State is not in.
Which and Everyone seems to be thrilled about this. The good news is next year we don't have to worry about any of this. We can just argue 9-3 Ole Miss and 9-3 USC. Who should get in?
So that to me is going to be way better because you can just say you should have won more games.
Sure.
I don't think that there's going to be as much controversy about, like, you're not going to have an undefeated great team like Florida State not getting in.
But you're going to have a lot of bad teams get in.
You're going to have some bad teams get in, and then you're going to have some teams that aren't so great being like, oh, we should have gotten in if this bad team gets in. Okay, well, you should have won more games.
Did you see what the first round matchups would have been this year?
I saw some of those fake brackets.
Georgia, Ole Miss, a game we've seen Georgia win by 40.
Yep.
Penn State, Ohio State, a game we've seen Ohio State dominate thoroughly.
I have no interest in watching that game again.
Like, it's going to be I am very anti-12-team playoff. Everybody else seems to love it. Oh, you don't want more football games? No, I don't. I want the good teams to play, and then everybody else can go play in the Music City Bowl.
There will be chaos, though. There will be a team. There will be like an Ole Miss over Georgia that eventually happens.
Maybe one game. I would wager Like where do you want to draw the cutoff? 6. A 7 to 12 seed will never, ever win the national title.
Oh. As long as it exists?
Yeah.
How much you want to bet?
I don't know. I mean, there will never be a payoff of it. This is going to last the next 20 years.
Let's put 20 years on it then.
Wait, say that again, Big T. What exactly are you saying?
A 7 to 12 seed in the college football playoff will never win the national title.
Okay, you know why I disagree with you? Because football, like, it's a war of attrition. You're going to have guys knocked out first round of very good teams, and you're going to see, like, an FSU team lose a starter, like a weakened, beat up, like, powerhouse team get upset by some feisty dudes.
But then you've got to win 3 more against 3 of the best teams in the country. Like
okay. In 20 years, if that happens, you have to register as a Democrat.
What do you have to do?
I'll register as a Republican.
That doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, it's not the same. Like, I'm not.
The
like,
parties
I'm
may
not,
flip
I'm not
by
as
then.
much of a Democrat as Big T is a Republican.
They might not exist.
I will.
This country won't exist.
I'll shave my head.
I mean, you come up with something, and we'll by this time next year. Let's think of something real good. We got a year.
Okay. I mean, the shaved head is pretty.
What does that do for me?
Well, what does you
PFT
vote
might be
registering as a
by
Democrat
then,
do for me?
guys.
I don't know. You seem pretty giddy about it.
I'm not. It'd just be funny.
Precisely.
I'm not counting on your vote. I don't care if you like vote for President Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. We'll figure something out. But I'm anti 12-team playoff. But people seem to love it. So more power to you.
It's more football.
It would be fun, and this is where me not watching college football comes back in. You gonna garner all this motherfucking sponsorship money. You got to start paying these motherfuckers because now you putting real risk for these kids' careers, and you're giving them per diem.
They will have a revenue share certainly within the next 10 years. I would wager within the next 5.
I think you don't understand how evil these motherfuckers is.
I promise.
Right.
I'm very certain of that.
Cousin, I hope you're right. But you are putting real wear and tear on these kids' bodies. And the longer you expand the playoffs, 12 teams, 16, then it's not basketball. This shit matters to these kids' careers. So the 18 playoff is kind of wild, but it's just it is what it is. They need to start paying these motherfuckers because it is what it is.
What I can't wait for is a kid to sit out a playoff game.
That'll be real.
I can't wait.
Because then people are going to be upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we might have to give that kid an NIL.
I'm trying to think. So next year, I'm trying to think if there's a guy currently in college football that would sit out a playoff
Arch Manning.
game.
Imagine that.
That'd be so awesome.
Imagine Arch Manning sits out the national championship game.
Well, you wouldn't do
years.
it. It would be a team that's playing in the first round.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about for all the marbles.
Yeah, but once you get there, you're playing.
What if Peyton and Eli are like, hey, Arch, sit out the national championship. I don't want to see you get injured. And also, we're going to tell you exactly who's allowed to draft you.
Isn't that the plot of a shitty movie that came out recently? I forget, but it's like national championship football game, and the team's like, we're not going to play.
Yeah. What movie was that?
I forget. It was horrible.
I think it was during COVID, right?
Probably.
Yeah, I think we like just collectively forgot about that. I do like Sam Howell. I'm a Sam Howell guy. But I have also started to think about the long-term plan that's in place for the Commanders, and I'm thinking about Arch Manning.
It's called National Champions. It has an audience score of 79 actually on Rotten Tomatoes. Tomato meter 66, but
Arian, I want to ask you real quick. I don't know if you saw the Alvin Kamara hit on the sidelines where he took that chain gang guy out.
I didn't.
It was pretty gnarly. When you ran over a guy on the sidelines, like if it's a cameraman, if it's NFL media, if it's a guy wearing a bib holding a chain, did you stick around, see if he was okay?
Yeah, I would always talk to him. I never understood that because it's like I'm not that disassociated from my humanity to not be like I just fucking bulldoze a dude or a lady, and I'm always like, yo, are you good? They're like, yeah. Are you sure? Everything? Like I would always like checking on them because you really forget how much you fall during football, like, and how much you get used to falling. So much so that you have to learn how to fall, right? So I had to learn how to fall, so I know how to fall. Not everybody falls daily, and so when you see them fall from a force that was, directed at them, it shit hurts.
Yeah.
Hurts. I was checking.
You know what's nuts about that concept? How much your body like gets used to the falling, but also is like conditioned to not be as sore from that abuse.
Yeah.
So like I played a full tackle football game 3 or 4 weeks ago for the first time in like years, and I was so goddamn sore the next day.
Yeah.
Like that was.
You just forget how much. Like if I was just walking up the stairs and I like scraped my shin, that like fuck, that shit hurt. Like, you know what I'm saying? That'll hurt for a little bit. Just chilling. But like you get your shin scraped like almost every play. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Or just falling on the ground like it hurt your elbow or whatever the case may be. Like you fall every single play and in every practice. It's just like you're always falling. You fall a lot actually.
When you had multiple injuries at one time, because I'm sure there was like something about each limb that was like kind of sore or banged up. Could you feel pain in two different places at once?
They used to say if a soldier, I don't know if this is true, but this is like you hear it over the years. They say if a soldier like or somebody had to get they foot or something amputated in their leg, they would break their finger so that they didn't worry about that pain anymore. And I was just thinking like, it probably just fucking hurt both ways. But I don't know. Like, so, but for me, I struggle with it now to like I don't even go to the doctor like that because I'm just conditioned like to take pain. Like pain is just a part of it now. Like I just expect pain. And so like if something happens to me, like if I'm out and about, whatever the case would be, I just suck that shit up. And so multiple ailments has been a part. I don't know what a healthy body feels like. I haven't felt normal maybe in 25 years. I don't know. My body is so used to having pain and living with pain and limping and dealing with it that I just don't know I don't even remember what a good body feels like.
Bro, you gotta go check out the stem cell treatments they got nowadays.
Okay.
Just cause I mean it's like a miracle of what are the stuff they've been able to do, and like
I don't disagree. I just don't know shit about it. I'll be chilling. I'll be golfing now. Hey, speaking of crazy shit that you be talking about, Tiger Woods is on something, dog. Now listen, let me just state this.
He's on the driving range 9 hours a day.
May be the case, but he needs to stay away from driving. Anyway, this is my GOAT. I think he's the greatest golfer that has ever lived, hands down. I think he's probably arguably the best athlete that has ever lived. Like unbelievable talent. He's just amazing. But I know, like when you start taking shit, your jaw grows. He on something. I don't know what it is, but he on something. It's something. And I hit the group chat to check with Billy because I noticed it over the year because like if you look at like 2009 and 2020, I'm sorry, 2019 and 2020. If you look at him, he was like very slim still, right? And he had a slim face, and I always made a note of that mentally because he was always like very good shape to me for his age. He's like my age now. And after he got in this last car accident, he started like getting swole, but he don't wear like shirts that fit. So I thought he was just getting a little bigger, and I was like, that he almost 50. It is what it is. But then I saw him walk up to the thing with this tight ass Nike shirt on. And I'm like, hold on, he's skinny as fuck. Why is his face so big? People that be doing like HGH or some kind of like something, they face swell up and their jaw gets bigger and they start to get like this. And look at his hats. Look at his hat in like 2012, and look at his hat now. He don't fit it. He be busting out the seams of his hat. And
It's like Barry Bonds.
He owns something, and like I hope it's legal. I hope he ain't trying to kill himself to get another major, man. But I hope he's all right.
Look, Jack Nicklaus didn't compete on juice, and he was like 80.
Jack Nicklaus?
Nicholas.
That's what Billy calls Jack. Billy thought that his name was Jack Nicklaus until like
I remember. Yeah, I remember that shit.
No, but I mean, when you're that banged up, I mean, the probability is that like freaking Conor McGregor, same shit. Conor McGregor snaps his leg, serious injury. A lot of these guys, like the mental impact of having such a bad injury, and I know Tiger Woods was really banged up from his car accidents, from all that kind of stuff. Like, you need to heal, and your body stops producing those types of hormones that like help you heal. And like I'm 24. I bounced back from an ankle break, which was like I forget what, invulsion fracture. I have this dime-sized piece of bone in my ankle, like ripped off the like main part. But like, I'm not gonna be able to do that at his age. And
You're
so
built
they're like
different,
taking
though,
endogenous hormones in order to heal faster. And honestly, we're seeing athletes have much longer careers because of, major, advances in science. I don't disagree with Tiger Woods trying to, get his body right and taking HGH and getting on the same level as some of the younger guys. They just need to figure out a way to properly, police it, because like, if you're not taking, superhuman levels of the stuff and just taking a certain level to maintain, a consistent amount of testosterone, HGH into your old age, I see nothing wrong with that. You're going to see guys' careers extend much longer. You're going to really see like the extent of human greatness, because not only do you have guys who are like able-bodied for longer, but their brain, learns so much more, and they be able to reach like stats that we've never seen.
New heights. I don't disagree with you. That's why I say I just hope the shit he's taking is like healthy for him and legal, and like, because a lot of the shit, like it's like like the experimental stuff, and I don't know, like there's definitely a change in his face. You know what I'm saying? His body is changing, and like in the golf swing, like when you take it back, and then on your downswing, the reason why these little dudes are able to like drive it 300 yards is because they exert so much force from the ground. He can't really exert the force from the ground anymore, so he's gotten really big up top. So and he had like a 340-yard drive this last tournament that he was in, and so like he has to account for a lot of his force coming from his upper body, and so he's changed the swing to match his his physical abilities. I just hope he, what I mean, like that shit. I don't know, man. I just want him to be healthy. Like I'm a huge fan of Buddy, man. I love Tiger. He's inspired millions across the world to play this game.
You said that he might be the best athlete of all time, which is shocking to me, considering you hate kickers and you don't think that kickers are real athletes. I would submit that kicking a ball it's more of an athletic motion than swinging a golf club.
Well, that's because you suck at both.
That's not true. I'm slightly below average at both. No, I would say I think I'm in the 95th percentile of human beings at kicking a football.
Maybe, but kicking is a difficult thing to do. I will not say it's easy, but swinging a golf club is way harder to do at an accurate rate than kicking. That's one. Two, football kickers don't really do anything. Sorry.
Neither do golfers. Golfers don't get up and tackle anybody.
But no. But that is the sport. The sport is to get this ball into a hole at a high rate. The majority of their sport, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Matter of fact, all of their sport, they're doing what they're supposed to do. football kickers, they are on the field 10% of the time.
Yeah. I'm just saying the act of kicking a football a very long distance is as much of a sport as swinging a golf club. And the mental aspect is the same.
Hell no.
Yes, it is.
Hell
At a high level?
no.
At a high level, being a kicker?
Get the fuck out of it. No.
You know how good these guys are? If you were to
I ain't
set
say
up,
they're not good, PFT.
if you were to set up a professional kicker, Justin Tucker, have him kick 10 55-yard field goals in practice, he probably makes 9 of them.
I'm saying
in a game, it's the added pressure, the timing, the mental aspect of it. It's hard. It's just like golf.
Are you trolling me right now?
No, I actually think that at the highest level, a kicker is just as much of an athlete as a golfer is.
There's a big difference, though.
This is insane.
Think about how big a field goal upright is.
Think about how big a fairway is.
No, but think about
they're not most of the time.
Yeah, they're bigger than a football upright.
No, the hole.
This is not a serious
the
comment.
hole.
I'm not talking about the hole, Billy.
Yeah, but the hole versus a golf ball versus a football in a field goal, and you could claim that punting is equivalent to like driving on a range.
But nobody goes out to like kick balls for fun. Like
I
you
do.
know what I'm saying? Like,
I used to all the time. I
Also,
used to
think about
all the
how
time.
jacked
Okay.
are.
Okay. Very rarely do people go out and go kick balls for fun. Like very rarely. It just doesn't happen, right?
It is fun. You should try it.
More people across the board will go play golf for fun. It's a more taxing and more skill set involved sport because it's not okay. Can we agree on this? There's more skill involved playing 18 holes than there is kicking football.
I think there's a wider variety of skills that involved. Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that compromise.
I would argue if you're talking about punting and place kicking, there might be a little more. That's a wider range of skill.
Okay.
So when you look at Tiger Woods, you look at him in the same breath as Adam Vinatieri. Like they're equivalent athletes to you.
I don't know if they both do a very athletic thing very, very well.
Okay, but that didn't answer my question.
I'd say Adam Vinatieri is.
We agree he's the greatest kicker of all time, right?
Probably when you take into like Justin Tucker's made a recent claim for it.
Okay, so the greatest kicker of all time. You're saying athletically, they're in the same conversation as a Tiger Woods.
Maybe not as much as Tiger Woods.
Oh, BT, this is the ego thing, bro. What are you doing? Why
okay, not as much. I'm just saying that.
That not as much, dog. Nobody. I don't even think people take kickers seriously as like athletes in those conversations. They're never brought up. The only time they're brought up is like, hey, remember that good kicker? He was a good kicker. But
they should be.
They should not be because they just not a part of the sport like that.
I'm saying the skill of kicking should be respected more. I'm not talking about where it follows in the sport.
I think it's respected as it should be right now, which is not very much.
I don't know about that.
There's no way you feel. You don't believe this shit, dog.
Dude, it's hard to kick a football.
It's not harder. It's hard. It's way harder to kick a golf ball.
So I used to go out like I treated that like it was going to a driving range. If kicking marketed itself like golf, where it was like, hey, you can get away from the wife and kids for 5 hours and go get drunk with your friends kicking a ball across a field, more people would do it.
Should we make a kicking Topgolf?
Yeah, we should. Oh, I would love that.
That could actually be fun.
Yeah,
that actually would be fun. I'm not gonna. It'll be fun.
Grow the game.
Yeah.
But again, you're not gonna grow the game.
I mean, you see even soccer players sometimes. Soccer players step up to try to kick a football. They don't know what they're doing.
I'm not extending this kicking shit to soccer players. Soccer is an entirely different skill.
Oh, yes, I agree.
Football kickers. Okay, I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about soccer.
I'm just saying kicking a football is not always easy for a soccer player to do.
Agreed, but once you teach them the mechanics, they'll get that shit down real fast.
It's not that, Billy. I've seen so many soccer players that can't kick a football.
Dude, we taught a Ugandan guy who, like, never kicked a football before how to kick field goals in less than an hour.
Okay.
From how far?
He hit a 45-yarder.
Okay.
And I mean, you can't do that with golf.
That's facts.
That is true.
Like,
because you have all your tools that you need as a kicker on your body. Your whole life, you grow up with them. You don't grow up.
It's a harder thing to do, and I don't know why you're digging your heels on the
think about how many jacked kickers and punters there are because they kick for a while, then realize they have nothing else to do without hurting themselves from kicking more, and they just start lifting in the team facilities.
Correct.
Dude, I've seen so many kickers play golf on the football field because they don't practice.
Bro, do you remember when we were in Colorado? When we were at Colorado Boulder and we walked into the team facility, and who were the only guys in there playing ping pong?
They're playing chess, but yeah, it was the kicker and the punter.
Yeah. Then we saw them playing ping pong. They were doing so much other shit besides football during our football practice hours.
Here's a good gauge, right? Have you seen that Drake and J. Cole video where they mimic? It just came out. They mimic the Messi and I think it's Ronaldo or whatever the fuck his name is. The two soccer players that was playing chess against each other.
Yeah.
And Drake and J. Cole did that, right? And everybody thought, oh, that's dope. You know why? Because it's equivalent. That makes sense. That's dope. Two of the GOATs playing. If you mock up Justin Tucker and Adam Vinatieri playing chess against each other, there's going to be so many get the fuck out of here underneath that shit.
They'll do numbers.
Matter of fact, somebody do that shit.
They'll do numbers.
Pat McAfee. And Sebastian. What's Buddy's name?
Wait, what'd you call him?
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
I like that. Pat McAfee.
Oh, it's McAfee.
I like that. I like that.
Please don't clip that. That's the homie too, man.
Yeah, I saw the look on Billy's eyes when I said I'm a better kicker than 95% of the population. I saw that look.
Dude, I think I have a Ugandan on my team who can outkick you like easy.
Okay, 95 right now maybe. I'm talking about like at my peak when I was 28, 27 and I was kicking on the rugby team and I was
you know
in
why?
Peak physical
Because
form. I'm talking about 95% of humans. I'm not talking about 95% of kickers. Yeah.
I thought you meant just America, but
oh yeah, we can say either one.
The world, your percentage is way down.
Yeah, I mean that's all they play is soccer.
I taught and they play rugby. There's like Australian rules for AFL players. There's rugby players. There's soccer players.
There's a shitload of unathletic people out there.
There's Gaelic football players.
I think I'm better than 95% of the world at kicking a football. Maybe not now. Maybe now it's down to like 85 or 90. But at my peak, I would say even like 96, 97%.
The kid on the guy on Uganda can definitely beat you. Just in a kicking contest.
Maybe right now.
Multiple guys.
Maybe right now, but not when I was 27, Billy. I was built different. Made a 60-yarder, bounced off the upright, went in.
Hold on.
Normal people won't be able to ever understand how hard
was
that
it from a tee or was it a guy? Was there a holder?
It was my heel that I dug into the ground to put the rugby ball upright.
You kicked a rugby ball, not a football?
Yeah.
You might be right. Okay, so this is from sportsmadness.com, so take that.
Great publication.
It's maybe reputable, maybe not. Soccer is the most popular sport all over the world. And they said there are 265 million active soccer players worldwide, accounting for nearly 4% of the world's population. So
there you go.
That's shockingly low.
It is.
No, but that's people who play is that everyone who's ever played?
You think 4% of the world plays professional soccer, Billy?
No. I'm saying no. Like, is it? What are we counting here? Like high school soccer
anyone
players?
in the world who plays soccer for fun.
I don't think that statistic's right.
Do you think there are 200 million professional soccer players?
Look up how. No, that's what I'm saying.
Do you know how many people in China just go to work and then go home and they're like, "Fuck, that day sucked," and they aren't professional soccer players?
No, what I'm saying is is that people who currently play soccer, like hypothetically high school through NFL football players, like all the people playing football. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it different levels? Like how? Because there's a lot of.
I don't think it really matters because I think I'm now more confident than ever saying if you took anybody between, I'll even narrow it down, age of 15 to age of 65. If you were to just take 100 people randomly off the street, you know how bad they'd be at kicking a football?
Yeah.
I mean, some of that one truck.
When you say football, do you mean football or?
I mean a football, American football.
I'm gonna say it like that, Jack.
Also, I think kicking a rugby ball might be more buoyant and heavier than a football, so it can get kicked farther.
Why would no? Okay, so you're right and you're wrong, but it's breaking my brain figuring out which point to refute first because you said buoyant and heavier.
No, but stuff that's heavier.
I'm gonna break it down because Billy's kind of right. I'm gonna try to help Billy out.
Don't.
Okay, then Billy's wrong.
You're gonna try to make me look stupid. A
No, I'm
fucking
not.
rugby ball is less dense and heavier than a football. I'm pretty sure because it is just as it's bigger, but that may help it travel through the air better. A Zeppelin is heavier than a football, but it's more buoyant technically.
Okay, we have Big T looking up how heavy each ball is right now. I would guess that a rugby ball would be lighter, but here's how it breaks down. Because I used to train for rugby by kicking footballs because the sweet spot is much smaller on a football, and it's harder to kick a football well. But in my experience, I could kick a football farther than I could kick a rugby ball if I really connected on it. And I think it has to do with the surface area on a rugby ball. It meets more wind resistance when it's in the air.
Footballs and rugby balls are almost identical.
Okay.
American footballs weigh a few ounces less.
I see 14 to 15 ounces for a football and 400 grams for a rugby ball, which is 14.1 ounces.
I'm seeing rugby balls weigh between 13.5 and 15.5 ounces.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, okay. But American footballs
14 to 15.
They're about the same. They're about the same. Rugby ball's bigger. More wind resistance.
This is saying it's heavier.
More wind resistance on a rugby ball than on a football, though. We can agree on that.
Yes.
It's bigger.
As I said, more buoyant.
Sweet spot bigger on a rugby ball.
Are you saying – all I'm saying is that your 60-yard rugby ball kick, I think, might be easier than kicking a football. As you just said, American footballs are harder to kick. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, they are. But I have kicked
a
56-yard football.
Also, I'm just so pumped because I convinced my friends to go throw with me tomorrow morning.
That's
Routes on air.
Did you go to Tommy DeVito's event?
In Hoboken?
Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, we're going to get back to Billy and whether or not he went to Tommy DeVito's party event in Hoboken.
At the Wicked Wolf Tavern?
So, Billy, talk to me about Saturday night, Hoboken, New Jersey. Tommy DeVito at the Wicked Wolf Tavern. He puts on his Come Meet Tommy DeVito party. You were there. What was that like?
I walked by. Line was too long. I wasn't about to wait in that line to hear. Look, it was a classic Hoboken, Jersey type deal. Just like heavy EDM, lot of Guidos, lot of Guidesses at the joint, and I was just going to hit Irish Row a couple blocks away because it was way more chill.
Is that term derogatory?
I'm going to ask a good friend of mine.
The G word.
Who would be, she would fall into that category.
I think I can use the... Shit.
It sounds a bit sharp to my ear, but look, what do I know?
What was more offensive, Guido or Guides?
Guides sounds bad.
Well, that's just what was going on there, and I don't think they'd take that negatively. They're very proud of their heritage. We had a Guido in the Eagles game who caused the scene and got kicked out. Dom, he was sporting his Italian flags very proudly. I think that's another example.
So I've just actually heard back from my Italian source. She says Guidette.
Guidette. Oh, I'm sorry.
And she says not offensive.
See?
Man's got an Italian source.
I got an Italian woman on call.
You have a Guidette on call?
I got a Guidette, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
for exactly this type of situation.
I've grown up.
No, she said it was fine. She said Snooki is a Guidette.
I'm going to be honest. I have the Guido pass.
This sounds bad.
No,
are you sure?
I've been in the gym with enough Guido juice heads that I got the pass.
Do you have an Italian man source?
I do. I have plenty.
Hit one up. I'm talking about one of them Jersey Shore motherfuckers who put oil on their bodies and shit.
Okay, yeah. I got one on.
Hit him up and say, "Yo, is Guido
who's the most
derogatory term?" Because it sounds like some shit I would say if I was mad at an Italian. You know what I'm saying? If that was the kind of person I was. Like, get the fuck out of here, Guido.
Yeah,
I mean, that sounds bad, bro. It sounds bad.
It's about this guy's got a good accent more than anything.
Hopefully he picks up.
It's like Louis C.K. said, using the word.
Yo, just quick question. You're on air. We're not going to reveal your identity, but is Guido an offensive term?
To Italians?
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on the Italian you're talking to. Old school Italians, yes. New school Italians, not as much.
Do I have the Guido pass?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, come on.
You're not even close to Italian.
I know, but I hang out around with enough Italians.
It's not how it works.
Give you a Guido pass.
This is giving.
Ask him if Italian is offensive.
Is Italian offensive?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your input. Appreciate you picking up so promptly.
You're good, Billy.
See you, bro.
But it was like, I hang out with you guys. You think Eminem's going to go on stage saying all the words?
Damn, he didn't give me the Guido pass.
My Italian correspondent says that one time her mom called her a putana when she dressed slutty. That's Italian for whore. So putana would be a guidette that's really stepping out.
A guidette of the night.
Yeah, guidette of the night is the putana. Putana. You look like such a putana right now.
No, that's offensive.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bill, I can't believe you didn't go to Tommy DeVito's Wicked Wolf Rager.
I mean, it was like it would have been. I saw it. I was like, all right, the line's way too long. I'm not gonna about to walk to the front of the line and be like, yo, did you listen to podcasts?
I actually, I had a deeply embedded source that I can't believe I didn't think of this till just now. I would have forgotten it if y'all didn't talk about this. That was sitting next to Billy at a bar on Friday night, and I was getting bi-hourly updates.
A deeply embedded
dude,
source?
You can't do this.
You had eyes on him?
Yeah, no, I had eyes.
Billy, you had ops in the bar you didn't even know?
Dude, that was a different bar. Friday. I'll hear what you have to say, but what are we doing here?
No, I just had eyes and ears at the bar on Friday.
I'd like to know what the eyes.
I was at
Mostly the eyes. What did the eyes say about Billy?
which bar was it? Because there was one bar that was chill, and then there was another bar I went to for 2 seconds. And I was like, all right, it's time to go home.
I don't know what the bar was, but there was a picture. My source was sitting directly behind you. Could hear, could see everything.
Oh, dude. Jesus
What'd your source
Christ.
say?
Honestly, nothing really of note other than dudes would walk by Billy and smirk to themselves and then giggle with their pals.
Mm-hmm. Billy kept going to the bathroom a lot.
I didn't hear that.
No.
There were no real good updates. I was really hoping there would be.
Dude, I'm very tame in public.
The one update was that Billy was trying to talk up his buddy to a woman. That was
nice.
good.
Good job, Bill.
Yeah, there wasn't anything too crazy. I was hoping there would be.
I like how Billy talks about himself like he's his own dog. I'm actually very well behaved in public. If you bring me around adults, I do very well.
Yeah, dude. That was a dope bar. A lot of great stout was going down.
Was that the second bar or the other bar?
This is the first bar then.
It's good to have a neighborhood bar. I think I'm developing a neighborhood bar.
What's that? Well, I guess you don't want to reveal.
I don't want to reveal what my neighborhood bar is, but it's cool going in. Bartender knows your name. Glad to see you. Shaking hands, have a little conversation with them. The locals say hi.
How often you go into this bar?
Not as much as I would like to, because I've been traveling a lot. So I would say when I first moved here, I'd go there twice a week.
Is everything okay at home?
Everything's great.
Okay.
In fact, I brought Blake there on Friday.
Really?
Nice having him.
Dude, that's the best.
That's allowed?
Yeah. Arian's laughing.
PFT,
yeah.
Is it the bar that I've been to with you?
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing
to remember
because
which bar.
he goes, is everything all right
Yes.
at home? He goes,
good bar.
absolutely is. In fact, I brought my dog with me.
That's a good bar though.
PFT's always rolling with bitches. Actually, he's a guy. He's a guy. If there's any dog trainers out there, if they could tell me how come my dog that has no nuts is starting to hump things, I would appreciate that, because it's weird. It's kind of weird.
He's a little young for that.
He doesn't do it all the time, but he does it, occasionally. And I'm always like, Blake, you don't even have balls, dude. What are you doing?
Rudy still does that, and he's 6.
Oh,
Cut his balls off?
I thought you were talking about Rudy Jundo
Yeah.
for a second.
You cut his balls off.
I did not. I got him his balls. He was a victim of
neutering.
What was a genital mutilation.
Genital mutilation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna get him testosterone shots?
No. Absolutely not. Are you getting your dog?
Well, look, I mean, he had a little weight problem, so we tried to up the non-endogenous hormones. So he's on a supplement.
Okay.
Man, this little dog is his science experiment.
No, he's not. He's just naturally jacked.
Arian, I realized that I kind of screwed up because I do on part of my take we do a annual award for the nation's best fullback, and we call it the Lowman Trophy in college football.
Okay.
I don't think I ever asked you to be on the committee for it because you know a lot about fullbacks. You've run behind them for a very long time. Would you like to be on the committee?
Two things. Are there still fullbacks?
Yes.
Secondly, what is the I guess demand for being on the committee?
You just have to know a lot about fullbacks. So I will tell you who's on the committee because I sent out the text this morning. Mike Allstott, Aaron Ripkowski, John Kuhn, Lorenzo Neal, Cole Kubelik, Andy Staples, Tom Fornelli, Jacob Hester. I think I'm leaving out a couple too, but Vontae Leach.
He was my fullback in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you have real reputable fullbacks. You don't need me.
Okay. All right. I just figured I'd open up the.
No, it's an honor.
Floor.
It's an honor, my brother. May I suggest one for you?
Yep.
William Floyd.
William Floyd. Yeah. Do you know him?
He reached out to me a while back. I don't know him personally, but I know of him and he knows of me.
I would love to talk to him about being on the committee. It's one of my favorite things that we do because nobody thinks about fullbacks anymore.
That's true.
No one thinks about them.
I appreciate the invite, my brother, but I think you have real reputable fullbacks on there that represent the position very well.
Do you need a diverse perspective, a running back's perspective, a halfback, tailback? I think, diversifies the bunch.
Saying you need a token?
A token running back? Absolutely.
Nah, they got enough of their career not getting the shine they deserve, man. You know what I mean? I don't want to impede on anybody that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Let them get they. That's them. They got their thing.
Also, additional plug. Surviving Barstool's out tonight. Check it out. If you don't feel like paying, it's $9.99 for pay-per-view, and you're going to get unedited. You're going to get the episodes as they come out until the series finale, which is going to be live here in Chicago. If you don't feel like paying for that, you can get all those for free after the series finale comes out. So whichever way you do it, I know that we asked people to buy merch for the last 2-3 weeks for Black Friday to get the producers paid. Congratulations, guys, McKinsey and Mad Dog.
Thank you.
We
appreciate you.
Some good money off that. McKinsey was the MVP of the producers basketball tournament. McKinsey.
Yeah, probably the only reason I won that was because of the Southern accent.
I mean, you were hitting the boards.
I'll take it.
You were hitting the boards.
Menace on the boards.
Big time.
No one can see me under there. I just sneak in.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But I know that we asked you guys for a lot, and you guys have always supported us. We appreciate all the merch that you bought, all that stuff. If you don't feel like paying an extra $9.99 to get this on pay-per-view, I completely understand. And just wait, it's going to come out for free. If you do buy it, I actually do think that it's worth $9.99 because it's some of the best content that we've ever put out. So we appreciate that too. Either way, not going to strong arm you in one way or another. I'm not going to call you poor. Don't worry. And even if you don't have a lot of money, $9.99 can be a lot for some people right now. Who knows? Everyone's circumstance is different. If $9.99 is too much, we still appreciate you. So just watch it for free after it comes out, and that will be fine with us as well. All right. So, Billy, you sent over the sheet this morning. You also sent over an updated sheet. So which one do you want to start on?
We can start with the original sheet, the updated sheet. It's just about some alarming legislation that has came across my desk.
I love the idea that Billy's got a desk that alarming legislation passes across.
The desk is it's a group chat filled with people who have very conservative views and get very paranoid about legislation that may infringe on liberties and freedoms.
Put me in a group, cuz.
As anyone should.
And it's one of the funniest group chats I'm a part of because some of them are just like so paranoid about like
a bunch of M-bombs being dropped in there, huh?
No.
Look at it, red as hell.
No.
Put me in there.
It's maybe I'll consider it, but it's just like a bunch of people who are like, so like it's where I get all my like very very far right like skeptical crazy. It's kind of funny. It's more comical.
Let's talk about that issue because there's a bill that's going through the New York Senate. Is that right?
Yeah. So
and there's a part of it that says the state commissioner of health now resumes the authority to, whenever appropriate, to control the spread of a highly contagious communicable disease, issue and or direct the local health authority to issue isolation and or quarantine orders consistent with due process of law to all such persons as the state commissioner of health shall determine appropriate. So I'm reading that and I'm seeing the phrase consistent with due process of law in there, which seems like it should. I don't think they can like blow a whistle and say we're rounding up everybody and putting them in a concentration camp, because
that's how it's painted.
There is that phrase "due process of law," which I think
that'll stop them.
I think that does mean something legally, though, right?
It sure didn't a couple years ago.
Who got put? Was there a concentration camp that ever got put into place?
Not that you know of.
I mean, I think we would know about that.
You would
in Australia.
Yeah. So. All right, I do.
They're rounding up anybody that was in D.C. in the first 2 weeks of January 2021 right now, pal. You think they're going to let the due process of law stop them?
Where are they rounding up anybody that was in D.C. on December 30th?
No, there is a list of people who flew into Washington like the days around January 6th, not that went to the Capitol, just that were there, that are being questioned and in some cases arrested.
Are they rounding them up?
Seems that way.
I don't know if they're rounding them up.
No. So honestly, what was most concerning about this bill and what might be it might be applied to is it might be applied to mental health as well. People with medical issues. Yeah. If you read it, there's parts where I think they're going to try to use it to forcefully.
What's the actual bill? Is that in there?
It's Rule 213 that they might try to forcefully institutionalize like a lot of the like people having episodes who are currently homeless. That's what people are saying. That's what the rumors are of why they want to pass it, is so that they can start to admit a lot of these individuals with mental health crisis.
I'm looking at, so Billy, on the website that you sent over, it looks like it's a local newspaper, the way that it's presented. But this looks like it's not a local newspaper at all.
No, I know where that county is. That's a real.
Yeah, I know it's a real county, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know that this is like a real local. This is giving me vibes of this is not set up by like the town.
Yeah, but it is, because like they post like their county track results.
Is it?
Yeah, state-of-the-art outdoor fitness court coming to the Haverstraw Community Center. This is a small-town newspaper, if I've ever seen one.
Okay, it's they need to put more money into their design.
Yeah.
But looking at the text of this bill, okay, let me ask a hypothetical question. If Ebola was going on, right? What's Ebola's mortality rate?
It's actually gotten a lot better. I was asking some questions. The running back in Uganda was a doctor.
Okay.
And he, was on the front lines for a lot of the Ebola initiatives, and they've gotten a much higher survival rate just because they've been able to administer antibiotics much more widespread. And asking him about a lot of the recent medical stuff that occurred in Uganda was fascinating. And he's an amazing running back. He's a little old, but he may be able to like possibly play D3. We're working on that.
So I'm just curious, like if Ebola or another disease, let's say there was a hypothetical disease and the mortality rate is
No, never again, any circumstances.
92. Oh, I'm actually agreeing with you that the next time they try to institute something for like public health measures, it's going to fail miserably.
Never again.
Because people just won't listen to it. But if it was 90% mortality rate, if people were dropping.
Rabies. 100% if there was like a human strain of rabies going around real fast, I'd be down.
You'd be down, lock people up in a cage?
Yeah, only time, because rabies is literally a 99% mortality rate.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, Big T, because if we do meet resistance for a next outbreak, and there will be a next outbreak, right? It's going to be people with a brain like yours. So I'm curious. There is no reasonable governmental measures in your head that would constitute any kind of regulatory quarantining or regulatory.
No, that's actually the problem. There might be, but the first time it was executed so poorly and that we can just never. It has to be a zero tolerance.
What this is? I guess you
Because
do realize that could cost people lives, though. You do understand that?
I'm just telling you from my perspective, yes, there could be, and I think that's why it's unfortunate. If there's this thing that's horribly deadly, like way worse than COVID, and like we need to do things, there are going to be people who, and I'm saying more in the hypothetical sense of like while we're having this discussion, you can't concede anything because we've seen how it works out in practice. So you just have to say never again.
Even if it means killing people.
I mean, people are free to take whatever measures they feel necessary for themselves.
So yes.
No, like I don't understand your question.
So if it became evident to you, and I don't know your metric of evidence, clearly we disagree on a lot of how we deduce true from not true, right? And I don't know what your metric would be, right? And so if it's demonstrable that us being out and about, and this is a hypothetical, right? In an outbreak situation in the future, if it's demonstrable that people are out and about and spreading it, and that is causing it to, whatever it is, to mutate, spread, and it's actually killing people, what would be your metric to say, okay, it is best to follow the protocol that they are trying to implement? And if
that may be what's preventing people from just doing that.
America and Americans. And I think actually that is a great answer. It's an American mentality. It's a very American mentality that says, I have the freedom to do what I want and you could do what you want. Rather than, and obviously they don't actually feel like that, right? There's plenty of regulatory things that we all agree to. But when it comes to something like this, there was very big pushback. And some more, I would say, warranted than others, or I guess I would agree to some of the pushback more than others. But for whatever reason, it is very, I'm gonna do me, you do you mentality, which is, that's another conversation. But
it's just I've seen how it works. So even they just went away. Oh, you're back. So yes, obviously if there was something that was horribly detrimental to people and yes, there are things that should probably happen, but I've seen how it works in how it's implemented in practice. So now I can't ever have faith in the government handling that ever again.
So I guess that's my question. The question was like, what would be your metric? Like, how would you gauge, all right, this is something seriously to consider of me to adhere to the government's.
I really don't know, because what I've seen in real life practice was terrible. So I don't know.
I guess that would be the biggest issue. I think would be like, I guess I have a standard of like how to parse out true and not true, and I'm unsure that majority of Americans have that. and including you, Big T. And I don't think that's a slight. I just think that's just like a
well,
reality.
This is a mythical scenario. Like what is true or
not
true?
It is not a mythical scenario. It is an absolute certainty in the next couple decades, that there's going to be an outbreak of something. They've been warning about it for years. And I don't think this one will be viral. This one might be bacterial. That's what they were saying. But
my opinion, I know it's unsolicited, but people forget about this specifically when it came to this past pandemic. I think the negative externalities of putting in lockdowns, putting in forcible quarantines, is that there are tons of negative externalities and death caused by these that may in the end outweigh the actual deaths of the disease if it was left to if we took the laissez-faire approach.
That would have to be a lot of deaths, because there were in the United States like over 1 million.
Right, but
that's the one thing it gets lost a little bit, is especially at the start, like people were dying left and right. Like if you were over 60, over 50 in bad shape even, and got it, you had a high likelihood of dying. Like people really did die from it. There's a lot of people that you talk to that are personally affected, that know somebody, and the whole thing sucked. And I agree that how he managed it was not good by any stretch, no matter how you're measuring it. But yeah, like a lot of people did die. It's not like it was completely made up and nobody died from it.
Not in Billy's group chat.
Yeah, if you're young and in good shape, you were probably fine. Also,
no,
I feel like
the thing is,
I feel like it's going around again.
A lot of people who were in lockdowns, like there was overdoses, there was suicides, there was a lot of that were situational suicide, which is like a whole different issue. But there was impacts that that had a huge impact on the younger population.
I don't think anybody would argue that, but
right. But that's my whole. But
it's a cost benefit analysis that nobody knows the ramifications for, right? Especially during. So like when I hear people say, "Oh, it was managed horribly," I just, it's wild to me, because it's like hindsight is 2020. Like, how would you have done it? Is what I always ask people, and they say, "I don't know," but I wouldn't know. Of course, you don't know, and so you're dealing with like a round table of like health experts and psychologists and like legislators, and like, how do we handle this in real time, because people are dying. Like that is there's a no-win situation. You have 330 million people in America. You're not going to satisfy all of them with one legislation wave, the magic wand. And so you're going to have people who are just disgruntled, who disagree. Like I happen to feel like they did an okay job for given the circumstances. Would I have done things differently? Sure. But I'm like in the thick of it. Like if you honestly look at yourself in the mirror and say, could I have handled that shit any better? I mean, that's a real conversation that I'm willing to have with myself. I don't know most people are, but that's a tough thing to handle, dog. And you're because I think a lot of these politicians, they get their job just in hopes, not really of changing, kind of keeping status quo, maybe fixing some local shit, but just is a good job. When something like this happens and the decisions that you make actually have real demonstrable and real time consequences of people living or people dying, that is a responsibility that not many humans are equipped to handle. And I give leniency there, because it's especially on the fly with a new disease that we were unaware about. That's hard, dog. I think I'm just more willing to give leniency in that situation than most. But I mean, I understand the other side, I guess.
I think that a lot of politicians get their jobs because they say like, this is bullshit. What you're doing sucks. And that's on the right and the left, where they get elected off of like being like pushed back against the man. And then they get into position where they're in power, and then they just don't know what to do now that they're in power. Like they get popular because it's easy to be like, people love a good hater, especially when it comes to politics, right? Being a hater will get you elected for sure. And then once you're there, you got to do shit. And a lot of haters are not equipped to have haters of their own, and then they just panic and they're like, oh fuck, this sucks.
I think what really catches them off guard, especially, I think there are some good hearted people that enter into these positions. But I think what catches a lot of them off guard is you don't really realize how much compromising has to go on, right? So it's like you have all these grandiose ideas. I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna change this, and you're like, then you sit in the House of Representatives with 400 other people, or the Senate, 99 other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you have to like, all right, here's my idea. Okay, we'll give you your idea, but you got to give us this. And it's just a whole bunch of like that. It's a barter system. I mean, not a barter. It's like you basically lobbying each other for ideas, and you have to give here and take there, and yet it's just a very chaotic and archaic system that I think is outdated. But it's just a tough situation all around. But that's funny as shit.
Yeah. Haters, man. Haters. It's all fun till the rabbits got the gun.
Another news story that I think is way more current is Venezuela is going to try to do a land grab on Guyana, which is wild and unprecedented. That they're straight up land grabbing.
Yeah.
Like wild, just for oil reserves and oil wells off the coast of Guyana.
I can never see the United States doing something like that.
No, that's unprecedented.
But like,
wait, they're deploying their military strategically?
Not for invasion and annexation though. Like attacking a neighbor?
Yeah.
Like corporate imperialism's one thing. I mean, it's not, it's like,
hey, when you're doing shit under the table and you can't see, that's another thing. When you're telling us, I draw the line there, buddy.
Can you imagine if like Monterrey, Mexico had as much oil as the Middle East? Like how quickly we would own Mexico? Actually, that was ours. So
wait,
we were
but
supposed to
I'm
be
saying,
here.
I'm in this like Guyana is they're only like there was not any prompts in WMDs and tons of misinformation that like triggered this. Basically, Venezuela's like, we're taking that land because technically it belonged to us pre-1899 because of like a colonial dispute.
You walking a tightrope right there, my brother.
Okay. I just think we should project a little more strength as like an American as a whole to like not have a dictator just take another country on the international stage again in the same short span.
This is interesting.
But wait, so Billy, you're saying that the United States should involve itself in a foreign war because
I just think that we should bring a little awareness to, hey, some shit's about to pop off in South America.
Yeah, it's not good. I've always wondered what's going on with those countries that are like above Brazil. Your Guianas. I don't think it's cocaine up there. Your Guianas, French Guiana, and then Suriname. What's going on?
Oh, true.
What's going on up there?
Yeah. I think they've just been vibing.
I think they've just been chilling
for a while, and now Venezuela is about to pop off.
They're on the Caribbean. Seems like they've had a pretty good life, or at least on the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know if that's the Gulf down there. Probably the Caribbean, yeah. But yeah, what's going on with those countries? Keep an eye on those. But yeah, Billy, you just said that they're not even doing like a pretext of WMDs. Their pretext is like, we've technically owned this since the 1800s, so we just forgot about it. So we're going to go ahead and take it again. That's their pretext.
Yeah. I mean, the justification is very, like, they basically had a vote, and I think the vote was rigged because 98% of the population does not agree on anything.
Yeah, it's true.
98% of the population was like, let's go to war and take this land.
That always weirds me out, how close our elections are all the time.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
True.
Before we get back to Billy's list, it's brought to you by C4 Ultimate Energy. I had a C4 this morning. Billy's got C4 right there.
What kind of workout did you rip after you ripped your C4? Because I had a fucking killer one.
I bet you a crazier workout than you did.
Nah, dude.
I bet you I did.
I'll tell you what I did right now.
Okay, do it.
2 miles, 7:30 pace with the dog. Then I hit legs. I did 6 sets of heavy ass squats and the ab wheel. And then I did 200 body weight squats just to finish it up, to just get it going.
All right. That's pretty good. I did a bar class.
What?
Yeah, I did a bar class on YouTube.
What's that?
Bar class is like, it's like a ballet exercise class, but it's not, you don't do ballet. It's like a strength exercise class.
Kind of like Pilates on crack.
Yeah. So it's a good leg workout. It's the best,
really hard.
Yeah, the best way I can describe it, Billy, it was like a 12-minute video that I did. It was like doing a wall sit for 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, thanks to C4, I got an insane leg pump. Like literally, I felt like my quads and hamstrings and glutes were just like exploding. Like I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit into regular pants today just because of the pump. Thanks to C4 and their amazing nitric oxide boosting ingredients. So
yeah.
Do you not have pants on right now? Like, do you not know if you're going to be able to get into pants later?
Billy's exploding his pants right now.
Look, I'm just saying, sometimes when I'm doing this podcast, I might not be wearing pants.
Okay.
All right. That's
Maybe
good.
just like spandex. You never know.
That's great, Billy.
C4 Ultimate Energy for the big game, the all-nighter, and the days that act like nights. We work hard, play harder, and do it all bigger and better than the rest. Formulated with 300 milligrams of caffeine. I'm still buzzing from the C4 I drank at 10 o'clock today. Ultimate Energy packs an extra punch and breaks boundaries. Just ask Lil Yachty, who uses C4 Ultimate Energy to help fuel him on tour this fall. With zero sugar, no artificial flavors, C4 Ultimate provides supercharged energy and delicious flavors such as orange cream, fruit punch, freedom ice, that's my favorite, and Arctic snow cone. C4 Ultimate Energy. Get supercharged at c4energy.com or find it near you at findc4.com.
I had the frozen bombsicle flavor this morning.
I like freedom ice because it tastes like a rocket pop from
Yeah, it does.
when you used to go to the ice cream stand.
It is delicious. And Billy, I challenge you to try to take a bar class.
I would love to do a group bar class.
You know those
Big
like
T doing a bar
exercise
class would be great.
classes, like hot yoga
Yeah.
type stuff. I always feel like I'll like I've done it. No shame. It's like basically like exercising in a sauna. But between my like the movements that are being done are just way too hard on the shoulders from like an injury standpoint and like knees kind of.
But you're allowed to like modify stuff, or you tell them before they ask you before, like, do we have anyone with injuries in the room?
Yeah, but like in order to like do a lot of that stuff, you need completely intact joints.
I think.
Are you talking about hot yoga?
Yeah, like when they have you like put your arms up with 5 pounds like 1,000 times, like that is
no shade. Like we gonna sit here and shame you for doing yoga, bro.
No,
no shame?
Usually there's no dudes in those classes, and
that is true.
For most dudes who go to those classes, you don't learn how to do anything because you realize you're looking around trying to figure out what exact pose is going on because like you don't know the poses, and then you get self-conscious because you're like, oh shit, do these people think I'm just trying to look at them as the only dude in here? And then you're like, I'm just gonna keep my head down because I don't care about the poses anymore because I don't want people to be like, why is this dude staring at everybody?
I 100% knew that's why Billy didn't like doing yoga classes, is because he's afraid that people are gonna think he's a creep while he's doing it.
I was gonna say, can I chime in as someone who does these? Like, this is not to necessarily Billy, but if you are a guy, that is a great way to meet girls, is like going to a female heavy workout class. Not saying you have to go and like flirt with everyone, but like it's literally, I don't know, fish in a barrel. Anyways, but
but you're also like you're ruining their space. It's like their safe space, and you're just in there.
Only if you're a creep, fam.
Yeah,
like,
Mackenzie, you
but
can
like
chime
still...
in, but it's like it's not like if like I do Pilates, which is pretty female heavy. And if there's a dude in the Pilates class, I've never been like, fuck me. Like, this ruins my experience.
Yeah, unless, like, but boys in the gym make a lot of weird noises sometimes. So, like, that, I'm like, okay, can we chill? Like, we're in a cycling class. Why are you grunting? Yeah. But, like, yeah, other than that, it's
I don't think it, like, ruins
deal.
my experience. Like, there will be guys in, like, my, like, Soul Cycle classes or, like, my Pilates classes. And I've never thought, like, fuck, this makes my experience worse. Unless, again, you're being a dick. Like, but that's an anyone thing. That's not just a dude thing. Like,
right.
I don't think you going to a bar class or a hot yoga class. There's actually more dudes in like hot yoga than I go to than like anything else. But like, I don't think you need to worry about that as like you being self-conscious that you're ruining women's days by like taking a class that's not. I mean, it's not like you're not allowed.
Also, most of the time, like, you're doing your own workout, so like the girls are probably not even noticing that you're looking at them unless you're like being weird about it.
Right,
like if you're just trying to get the motions, they're probably like, yeah, everyone's watching everyone. I have no idea what I'm doing half the time.
Right. And it's like
the instructor does it as well. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And if you think
you don't
the
have to
class
stare
is
at the joint in front of you like
yeah, I mean, true.
Well, sometimes the instructor's walking around the room while you're
in the
doing it, and they
back,
don't
like-
demonstrate it because like everyone comes 1,000 times, but the one time you come, you know what I'm saying?
No, but there's always new people.
yeah.
Like true, cause.
I'm gonna be such a good ally. I'm never gonna work out again.
Yeah, like I don't
So
think
that women
There
can
you
feel
go.
safe.
There you go.
women have their safe space. I'm never doing this shit again.
Billy,
I'm
everyone
gonna
has
get
to have
so fat in solidarity.
Billy, everyone has to have their first time. You know? You all
I
gotta
just-
get over it.
As a dude in there, definitely felt uncomfortable as the only dude.
I don't know, man. I did hot yoga for years when I was in the league, dog, and it was
It's great.
predominantly women in there every single day, and I did it like almost every day, and it was just I never once thought I was being creepy. It was always like you develop camaraderie with like people who you're
But
doing
like
it
the
with.
first time you did it, where you're like, oh shit.
That's everyone though. That's not just a guy thing.
Nah, like that's what I'm saying. Like the camaraderie comes from like after class, you know what I'm saying? We high fiving, like we got through that shit together, like because this shit is hard. It's like an hour and a half, dog. That shit is fucking hard.
Billy's so afraid of girls.
Yeah. Like I really
That's what it sounds
Billy, like Billy coming from women that do
No,
workout classes,
look,
like
I'm
I
just
don't
saying
think you need
it
to worry.
is a little odd. Like
But
I've
that's
done
what
it several times, and it's just like, but it's that funny thing in your head, like, oh, you're looking around, like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? Oh shit, do people think I'm staring at them? No, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing.
I think you, on behalf of the women that are in your workout classes, like I think you're good. I really think you're good.
Yeah, you got like some internal dialogue that has roots somewhere else.
Yeah.
So maybe explore that because I don't think the majority. I've seen this meme where there's this it's like there's like four pictures and the first three are like oh my god, I wonder what that guy thinks about me. Oh my god, I can't believe that. He's saying I know he's saying about this and oh I can't believe I look fat in this and then the last one is the other person. He goes, oh, there goes a dude.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's thinking of you like that in that capacity unless you're being weird.
No one is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you.
But it's like it's a very awkward situation. Like,
this is what I'm
look,
saying.
I'm just like I'm comfortable there. I still go, like it's fine. But that's still like a thought that runs through your head.
Yeah, I will say that attending a bar class in person, if you are not like, if you don't have a ballet or dancing background as a guy, might be weird because I'm sure those moves are like it's mostly dancers in there. I just did a YouTube video at my house, and it was a good workout. Check it out. But yeah, if you were to go in person, that would be very difficult to do, I think, because they do all the positions and first position, second position, etc. It'd be tough to catch up to. But yeah, I think for the most part, if you're a guy in a predominantly female workout class, you just go and do your workout.
Yeah, just do your workout and then go home, like everyone else in that room.
Facts.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to like hug everybody after the class. Yeah. Can I get my hug?
Where my hug at?
Where my hug
No
at?
one's proposing that.
We finished up.
think you
Where my
are.
hug at?
I'm not.
All right, guys, bring it in. Everyone gets a hug. I want to get to the Tennessee Minute.
And teed off.
And teed off. Yeah, Pie Wine is a sponsor. Big T, you got this one, right?
Yeah,
Pie wine
I don't
guy.
even have the script in front of me, but I don't need it because Pie Wine. We have one in there if you want to grab it, but if not, Pie Wine's the best. It's specifically to go with pizza. They're all like 13, 14% alcohol, which is great. And I don't like, what a fucking catch by me. I don't even like regular wine, but this stuff is like slightly different. It's like bubbly. It's really good stuff. It was on Shark Tank, I believe, and Mr. Wonderful loved it, and he doesn't like fucking anything. So Pie Wine is awesome. If you're eating pizza next time, have some Pie Wine with it. Even if you don't like wine, it's good stuff.
It really is. So owners are allowing all of us to invest and join the Pie Wine team. Get your slice of the $46 billion pizza industry by investing in Pie Wine today. Reserve your investment now at piewine.com. That's piewine.com. It is very, very tasty stuff.
That's probably something I was required to read, but I didn't even know that because I don't have the copy in front of me. I just love Pie Wine that much.
It's super tasty. It goes perfect with pizza.
Wait, I'm investing in Pie Wine right now.
This is
like invest in the company, not just buy Pie Wine?
Yeah. You should drink it because it tastes great. But you can also invest. That way, every time you buy Pie Wine, you're like paying yourself a little bit of money. How about that? But yeah, Tennessee Minute. Sponsor the Tennessee Minute. And I'm going to include Tennessee Minute and Teed Off.
Yeah, so there is something I was teed off about, but I've forgotten. So I've texted someone who would know. Oh, the Lego situation.
Okay.
Tennessee Minute, there's not much. We're on a 3-game losing streak in basketball right now, but it's to the number 1, 2, and 17 teams in the country on neutral court in the road. So it's
what
not a big
teams are
deal.
those?
We lost to Purdue by like 4. We lost to Kansas by 9. Those were in Maui. And then we played at UNC last Wednesday, and we lost 100-92 in regulation. See, I'm teed off about this too. People used to bitch that like, oh, Rick Barnes teams are so boring. They win games like 53-40. It sucks. Well, now we went out and got all these scores, and they can't play a lick of defense. They get run through like shit through a tin horn. I'd much rather win 50-42 than lose 100-92.
I'd agree with that. My problem with Rick Barnes is that he just is allergic to March.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We've got great offensive players this year. So maybe he can teach them to play defense. Anyway,
real quick. Because I didn't even know they played. UNC was my favorite basketball team growing up, and obviously I went to the University of Tennessee. Aesthetically, we talk about those aesthetically pleasing games.
It was beautiful.
Bro, Tennessee on a UNC court is fucking gorgeous. Look at that shit. That shit looks amazing.
Dalton Connect had 37, by the way, tied for the most points ever by an opponent in the Dean Smith Center.
Yeah, I mean, that too is dope. But I'm just like, the colors, when they blend together on that court, is amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
It looks like candy a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. It's amazing. It's like aesthetically pleasing. It does look good. It looks scrumptious.
I bought, let me send y'all a picture of this. So I've got all this stuff behind me on these things right here. I've got some bobbleheads, some Sports Illustrateds, and mini helmets and stuff like that. I bought it's not the brand Lego, but it's Legos, a Lego Neyland Stadium to put right here in the middle. It looked sick. It said nothing about assembly.
Wait. When one purchases a Lego set,
let me send you what I bought, and you'll like see what I mean.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't look like something that it looks like it would come put together. Isn't
that half the fun? Actually, most of the fun of Legos?
Not even a little bit.
You don't like putting the kits together?
So
I don't think you like Legos. I think you just like die-cast models.
Yeah, I don't like Legos. I thought this came assembled. I'm sending y'all a picture right now. So this thing I bought, it shows up at my house, 1,100 pieces in a box. And I start doing this on Saturday. I started during the noon slate of games, and I was doing it through the end of the night, and got probably half of it built, and I was meticulous with checking every single like grid on the thing, where the things were, where to put each piece. And I get about halfway done, and it's all one square off of where it's supposed to be.
No.
So on the south ends of the stadium, it's like cramped, and on the north end, it's one off. So I'm like, that probably is going to fuck me at some point, but I'm going to keep going. And I kept doing it. And again, been working on this 10 hours at this point. And it started to get to a point that it was like untenable. And I was like, I could rip this up and start over. But I was so certain that I followed everything to a T. I was like, this is correct. And I was like, if I get to this point again and it's like this, I'm going to have a mental breakdown. And so I was like, or I could try to keep going and see how fucked up it is. And I finally just ripped it apart and threw it in the trash.
Damn.
It was going to break me. If I did that on Sunday and got to a point where it was like actually like fucked up, I was going to have a breakdown.
Yeah. So your first mistake was ordering Legos and not realizing that you had to build.
Okay,
something.
no, but it's not. It's not Lego brand. It's on this website.
I'm looking at the picture though. It's very clearly
off-brand Legos.
This is very clearly a build it yourself thing.
Everything I've ever ordered, and I guess it is different because this is
Why would you want something that looked like this if it was pre-built?
Because it looks cool.
It's like Lego blocks.
Yeah, it looks cool. Does it not look cool?
It does, but it also that's something that you build.
Yeah, well, that slipped my mind because it was a nightmare. 1,100 pieces, some of which were one minuscule, less than a centimeter big.
You're like, don't tell me about the process of getting pregnant. Show me the baby.
Right.
That's you.
No, it was a nightmare.
You're a results guy.
Yeah. And so that was my teed off.
That's a good teed off.
There was another one
though.
I partly myself,
okay,
but also just the whole situation because I'm convinced the instructions were off. I'm certain I follow because it doesn't make sense that everything else would fit correctly except for this one part where it was off by one.
That's a really good idea for a prank is to design something.
Oh,
and then have the instructions be intentionally slightly wrong.
I'm going to contact the company and see. But the other thing was I put up my Christmas tree and the box was up in the closet and I don't know how it got up there. I didn't put it up there, but it would not come down. Could not come down at all. The wall was here. There was no way to get it down. Tried for 30 minutes. And so finally I just had to take a huge butcher knife and cut the box all the way down vertically and then pull the shit out of it. And I guess I'll figure out what to do with it in January.
So you just sliced into it from the bottom?
Yeah.
Did you try to turn it sideways?
Pal, it's a 6 foot long box that took up the entire length of the top of the closet and you couldn't get it down.
All right, well, here's a question for you. When does the Christmas tree come down?
I would like to take it down before I go home for Christmas so it's not back when I get here.
Yeah, if you're leaving, that has to factor into the equation.
Because I can't, if I come back on January 1st and it's up, it's going to make me depressed.
So give me a date. It's like you gave 22-year-olds should not say this.
I'm planning on taking it down the 21st, the day before I leave.
January 21st.
No, December 21st.
Wait, you're taking your... No, I'm talking about in general. In general, after Christmas, when does the tree come down?
Between Christmas and New Year's.
Okay.
I think after New Year's is fine. I think until it starts browning.
It just makes me upset to have it up knowing it's no longer Christmas.
You guys ever burn a Christmas tree? Hell yeah, that's a fucking great kindling.
Is that legal?
That is amazing kindling.
It's great. What we used to do at the Christmas tree farm, or at the place where I sold the Christmas trees, we would take a couple that didn't get sold the year before and we just leave them out back for an entire year. And then next year, during Christmas time, on the real cold days in December, we would just burn the old Christmas trees. And they're awesome. They light up so fast.
Dude, it's got the sap's like an accelerant. So if you're having trouble, lighting your fire, getting your fire started, get a small branch, but not too big, and put it in your fireplace, and that shit lights up amazingly. But it's a little, don't hold me to this because it's a little dangerous because that stuff lights up.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely very dangerous. If you have a dry Christmas tree, it's hard.
Also, don't light fires near the Christmas. If you have a fireplace, make sure that Christmas tree is as far away from it as it possibly can.
Wait, there was one more teed off I forgot about. This was a banner week for teed off. Concerts just don't start at the time they say they're going to, and I'm sick of it.
That's true.
Just say what time it's going to start.
Mm-hmm.
Why lie?
Because you want people to be there by the time the music starts.
But that's horseshit. Just tell me what time it's going to start. I'm an adult. I'm a big boy. I can figure out when to get there.
But most people who are going to concerts are going to have a good time. They might be pre-gaming beforehand. They might.
They might old for that term, aren't you?
They might be hanging out somewhere else. Stuff happens, stuff pops up. They accidentally
People
show up
do
10, 15
all
minutes
this,
late.
all this for sports games, and they tell you what time it starts. Although sometimes that's inaccurate, also. But
hockey games,
it's
the worst.
Hockey's always 20 minutes
It's
after.
so annoying. Why don't they just say it's going to be 20 minutes later? Like, it's so annoying.
The SEC 3:30 games always start at like 3:50, but in general, sports start at the time they're supposed to. Concerts are always half an hour of lying.
Yeah. Also, you have artists, and artists are just late.
Well, then fine them. I want the shit to start at the time it says it's gonna start.
Like Roger Goodell for music.
Yeah. No, somebody get control of this.
Of all my like interactions with any kind of like famous celebrity people, musicians are the worst with time. They don't give a shit about like athletes. They're all, for the majority part, they're very poignant and they'll be poignant. But for the most musicians, especially rappers, them motherfuckers they don't give a shit about when they show up, how they show. They're gonna be late for sure. Yeah. Lauryn Hill as well. Lauryn Hill is notoriously known for showing up like hours late for her concerts.
That would suck if you were in the crowd and you were just sitting around with nothing.
I went. You know what I'm saying? I went to a show. She had a House of Blues, and everybody was pissed. And I don't know. I just have like a different outlook on life. I was planning on to be out that night anyway, and she was like an hour and a half late. And I just had some drinks. I was kicking it with the lady I was there with. I had a good time. It didn't bother me like that. I don't know.
When Donnie
I felt privileged to be able to see Lauryn Hill. I think she's one of the most amazing artists of all time. Great. And the set was amazing. She played all the songs live. It was a great time. I don't know, man. It didn't bother me like that. I don't know.
When Donnie and I were in Qatar, we saw a French Montana concert. And I think he was like an hour and a half late hitting the stage. It was so late. And what's crazy is he had a hard time getting through customs, obviously, because he's French Montana and it's Qatar. And none of the stuff that he raps about is legal to do in Qatar. So I was surprised that they allowed him to play there. But yeah, he was so late. Me and Donnie kept looking around and the crowd started to go away. The crowd was like, well, French definitely isn't playing. We thought it was just like a bait and switch. All right, well, that does it for us this week on Nanodosing. On Thursday's episode, we're going to do Pearl Harbor. There's a lot of shit about Pearl Harbor. Stuff behind the scenes. Did we know about it? Did we not know? How did it happen? What was the response? SpaghettiOs getting into it. What was the proposed response versus what we did? How did it affect the rest of the world at that point? So Pearl Harbor, it is Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. On December 7th, so appropriate time for it. Very excited about that episode. Yeah, Billy?
One more thing I just want to clear up. So I reported on the dead longhorn story in Oklahoma State. There was a dead longhorn found on the front yard of a frat. We've done some digging, and it had nothing to do with their game against Texas that weekend. It was not killed for the purpose of the Texas game. It was an already dead longhorn that was at a rival fraternity, but also agricultural club's grandparents' house, and then already dead brought to the front yard of the rival agricultural club called Farmhouse, which was then branded like, I think it said "fuck Farmhouse," branded on the already dead longhorn. So it was originally thought that the longhorn was killed for the purpose of like Hate Texas Week and horns down, but it was actually an already dead longhorn that was in part of a random agricultural club rivalry, which is much better context than Oklahoma State killed a longhorn.
I think it's slightly better. Yeah,
it's a little better, I guess. Still like really bad.
Pretty gross.
Apparently there was a lot of rivalry with these two clubs leaving dead animals on each other's front lawns, like skunks, raccoons, roadkill, and these guys found a dead longhorn and threw it on the other club's lawn.
Do you think that would have happened if it wasn't Oklahoma State playing Texas that week?
I actually think so, because I think it was really bad timing.
Pretty big coincidence.
But the not stencil, they branded "fuck Farmhouse," not "fuck Texas."
Right.
Like if it was for Texas, they would have said "fuck Texas."
I agree. That part to me makes sense, but I still stand by the fact that if they weren't playing against the Texas Longhorns in the Big 12 championship game that day, was it later on that day?
No, it was the day before.
The day before. So the following day, I don't think that they would have done the Longhorn thing.
I think if the cattle wasn't a Longhorn, they still would have thrown it on the front.
Either way, if you find yourself engaged in a quote rivalry where you're needing to leave dead cattle in people's yards, you should probably reevaluate some things in your life.
College football just means more.
It's almost weirder that it has nothing to do with there's two there's war. There's the Jets and what's the Sharks of fucking ag clubs at Oklahoma State.
West Side Story. This is like two musicals combined here.
What's the other one?
Oh, Oklahoma.
Right.
Yeah, but like that's their version of frats, I guess. I mean, like we talked a big game about a lot of these meat judging clubs and stuff. Like, it's very possible that the meat judging club, I think one of the ones we wanted to sponsor, may have done this.
That seems very accusatory with no basis whatsoever.
Right, but like, who has access to livestock?
Didn't you just say it was somebody's grandparents or something? I thought you knew
that's
the story.
That's the story. No one's like owned up to it, but that's the rumor. That sounds more plausible.
Okay. I still think it's kind of weird to just take a dead Longhorn and be like, you know where I'm going to put this?
I think
I got the perfect place.
Don't them things weigh like 1,000 pounds or some shit like that?
Yeah.
How do you transport that?
Definitely. Well, look, they definitely the same type of people to have access to like tractors and pickup trucks. I think we can't judge from our blogging backgrounds because it's probably like dealing with dead animals is probably much more like everyday thing for them when you're in the agricultural livestock sort of not business but study.
It's a very common thing to do, actually, outside of the liberal walls of New York City.
Yeah.
You just drop a dead cow on your rival's house.
As one does.
Yeah. So the war was between AGR and Farmhouse, but AGR is claiming that they were framed.
Got it.
Right.
They need to document this like at Chicago Drill.
Yeah, there needs to be a country song. There needs to be country songs about this.
I need a dude on IG Live dropping the Longhorn off. Where you at? Where you at, Farmhouse? It's always fuck Farmhouse. All right. Well, we will see you guys on Thursday for the Pearl Harbor episode. Everyone have a great week. Love you guys.